to Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wilding in the stand. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gonna be our year. We're here drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring. Yeah.
In Kings group therapy with Calvin and Barry, the Sacramento basketball team lose tonight 127-102 to the Memphis Grizzlies. Alvin Gentry's back, De'Aaron Fox is back, Bagley, Davis, King all return as well. Longobardi is still out. Keita is in COVID protocols as well, and the Kings are still missing a few other pieces. 15 guys suited up and played minutes for the Kings tonight, but the Kings do lose this game. Calvin, first thoughts?
Another typical Kings game. Kept it close in the first half. Memphis really was struggling. Both teams were, but Memphis was really struggling to shoot, especially from outside to start that first half. Turnovers, sloppy play. It was very physical. The refs were letting a lot of things go. Second half, Memphis completely flips the script. They start hitting their outside shots much more consistently. They keep the defensive pressure up. The Kings start to get really frustrated with the officials. You look down, next thing you know, it's a 20-point lead for the Grizzlies.
Yep. Make sure you guys smash up that like button and make sure you hit that subscribe button to join the Royal family with Calvin and I. We'll be right back with your Nightcap. We're here, we're drinking beers, and we're talking about your Sacramento Kings. This is your Kings Nightcap. So as I mentioned in the intro, Kings lose tonight 127-102. Calvin and I are following Skip, and we are now calling them the Sacramento basketball team because they do not deserve a name at this point. Kings lose again. Calvin, what's going on here?
Well, to be fair, nobody's going to want to hear this, but some of it is they had a bunch of guys out for a bunch of games. They get them all back. They're trying to work them into the lineup again. I realize they've been playing together all year long, but it does change things, especially stamina-wise. I don't think anybody was super winded or anything out there, but it just adds a different element when you've played the last 4 games a specific way. Tyrese Haliburton has gotten really comfortable into a really nice zone, and then you add all these guys back. They play 15 guys tonight. It's just a very different dynamic from playing 8 or 9 people for the previous 4 games. Couple that with playing one of the best teams in the league. I'm going to keep saying that. I mean, this Memphis team is for real. I think it was 2 years ago I told you that the Western Conference Finals in 2 years was going to be Mavericks Grizzlies. I'm not putting any money on that this year.
1 year early, I think.
I'm not putting any money on that this year, but I am going to continue to say that this Memphis Grizzlies team is good enough they're good enough to beat teams in the playoffs this year. They're deep. They do everything well. They're the number 1 in the league in so many categories.
Yep.
They went 10-2 without their best player. So this is a absolute for real team, and they have wiped the floor with Sacramento every time they played them this year.
Yeah, and the Kings have faced teams this season that have been shorthanded as well, and the Kings have lost most of those games as well. So, yes, not everybody's here. Yes, you're interchanging pieces and coaching staff, stuff like that. But this is something that happens to all teams in the NBA, and, I don't want to make any excuses for the Sacramento Kings. They lost this game. They did. They lost against this Grizzlies time a few times beforehand. This is not a good basketball team right now.
No, they're definitely not.
And as Brendan said, at halftime, I was so happy.
Right.
Kings were up 1. I didn't think they were playing incredibly well, but I'm like, hey, the Kings are up 1. It's halftime. Maybe they're in this game. And, fourth quarter comes around, and I'm not happy anymore.
Oh, midway through the third quarter, I wasn't happy anymore. In fact, the first few possessions of the third quarter gave away some really easy layups, very easy drives to the basket. And then, I thought they really took themselves out of this game mentally. with the officials.
Yep.
Multiple technical fouls. And look, I get it. That's a frustrating thing. I've been there many times as a player. It's not fun to go through something like that. But you have to have the ability to come together as a group and say, look, we're not happy with the way that the game's being called right now, but we're only down 2 or up 2 or whatever it was at that point. It was still a very close game. So you have to be able to say, okay, the officials are frustrating us right now, but it's going both ways, and we're in this game. So we need to put that behind us. I didn't think that they did that at all.
Yeah, I know.
Probably wasn't the reason they lost the game, but it definitely didn't help.
Yes. I know watching the halftime show, Morgan Reagan was like, the flow seemed kind of weird.
It was.
I don't know exactly what that means, but it makes sense.
It benefited the Kings.
Yes.
It really did, because they needed a sloppy start-and-go game to compete in this one.
Did you see the guy holding the sign that said, "My parents conceived me at Arco"?
No, I missed that.
He was holding it right behind them at halftime when they were talking. He opens it up. He's holding it there. They look. He closes it, and he walks away. And I've seen a bunch of memes now about it all over Facebook and stuff like that. That's pretty funny there. So we saw Tyrese. Looks like he injured maybe his right quad early in the game, just running into somebody's knee. It didn't seem to affect him too much throughout the rest of the game, other than
he's going to be real sore.
Yeah, in the box score, it doesn't seem like he had the greatest game, but maybe we just got a little used to everything he's done over the last 4 games. I think they showed a stat here. I want to throw it up here. So over the last 4 games, it's been pretty incredible. No De'Aaron Fox. Tyrese Haliburton's averaged 23.5 points per game, 53% shooting from the field, 50% from three-point range, 11.3 assists, and 2 steals a game. Calvin, that's all-star numbers.
It is.
I know it's only 4 games, but those are all-star numbers.
Yeah.
They really are. So real quick, before we jump into the box score and everything, Damian Jones started out so hot in this game. I know in the first quarter he had 9 points in 4 minutes on 4-4 shooting. He didn't play that way the rest of the game, but I really liked what I saw from this guy, that turnaround jump shot that he has. He has a lot of potential.
It was really sweet.
But let's jump here into the box scores.
Okay. Tyrese Haliburton leads the way. 5 of 12 shooting, 18 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, and 3 more steals. All in all, not a bad game for him, all things considered. 12 points for De'Aaron Fox in his first game back on 5 of 12 shooting as well. 5 assists, 3 rebounds. Harrison Barnes added 12. Damian Jones, 15 points off the bench in 27 minutes, 6 rebounds. Terrence Davis, also 15 points off the bench, 4 of 12 shooting. Buddy Hield, 24 minutes, 3 shot attempts, 0 for 3 from the field, 2 points.
Yeah. You ever seen a team play 15 guys like this?
I
was like scrolling
down
through here, and I'm like,
sure I could go back
more.
and find a game where it happened or 2. When you get blown out, you tend to see more guys get in the game.
Yeah.
And also, this was the first game that the Kings actually had reserve players available. So I'm sure they were trying to get some of these guys who have been playing heavy minutes lately a little bit of rest as well. But it also hurts you when you get your 2 big men in foul trouble early in the game.
Yeah. And you know who wasn't in foul trouble? Marvin Bagley. First game back for him. Yeah. He only played 10 minutes tonight, 3 points.
Not a good matchup for him.
Yeah.
This Memphis team. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be the guy that he guards most of the time. And he's not strong enough. He's not quick enough to really stay with him and be effective throughout the whole game. I thought he put forth a good effort, but then he got into an even worse situation when Damian Jones and Rashawn Holmes are in foul trouble, because now they're asking him to play the 5 and guard Steven Adams.
Yep.
And that's no contest.
That's no good at all. Yeah, I mean, just looking at these numbers makes me even more depressed. 13 minutes for Rashawn Holmes tonight, 0 points. You take him and Buddy Hield. These are guys that both started in the last game. Obviously, Buddy's coming off the bench now that De'Aaron Fox is back. Mm-hmm. But, that's 2 guys, 2 of your core guys, 2 total points, 0 of 7 from the field.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on?
Well, if you look at the way the Grizzlies played them tonight, And again, this is a really, really good defensive team. They know that the Kings like to get points in the paint. They did a great job of walling off the paint, and that takes Richaun Holmes away, because if you got 3-4 guys all shrinking into the paint when the guard penetrates in there, that lob or that dump-off pass is not there. And we saw the Kings commit a lot of turnovers trying to make that pass, whether it was into Richaun Holmes or Damian Jones.
Yep.
I thought the Kings would have been much, much better if they continued to try to work the ball from side to side more and then try to attack the paint, because you got to get the defense moving back and forth. You have to create a rotation. Then you get a pump fake, get somebody in the air, and from there you get into the paint. You either get to the free throw line, you get an easy basket for yourself, or you get an easy basket for someone else inside.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think it's going to take to get these guys going?
Man, I really don't know. Unfortunately, they've had to go through this big stretch where they were out a lot of guys. Now they're trying to get them back and get them going again. You know, De'Aaron Fox was playing so well before he had to be sidelined. So now you have to work him back into it. Richaun Holmes has missed a ton of games. His chemistry with both guards, De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Haliburton, has been off since he's come back. I think he's still adjusting to maybe wearing the goggles or just adjusting to getting back into playing shape in general. And then after all that, you have to consider that this team wasn't exactly performing that well before all of this stuff. So they just have a lot of things working against them at this point.
What'd you see out of De'Aaron Fox tonight? First game back for him.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't really too disappointed with how he played overall. 7 turnovers is not good at all.
Nope.
And a lot of that can be attributed to missing time and getting that timing back with not only for yourself, but with other teammates on the court. He didn't shoot well today. But again, you know, this is a tough game to really make any major assessments off of, because the Grizzlies are really, really good defensively, and they did a great job of taking away what the Kings' best weapon is offensively, and that's getting into the paint. That's what De'Aaron Fox does. So they forced him into more of a jump shooter. I think they frustrated him a lot too by being physical with him. So this was not a good game for many Kings players.
Yeah, you know, I want to talk a little bit more about the De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Haliburton fit and where we go from here in the next section. But as far as this game goes, you know, it was good to see Fox back. It's good to see him get back on the court and do some things. I don't like the turnovers, but I thought Tyrese had a pretty good game tonight for what he did do. You know, he didn't do his 23 and a half and 11.2 or anything like that. Well, but, you know,
he had the ball taken out of his hands a lot just by De'Aaron Fox being back. So.
And he's still 18 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals
too. I mean, you like to see that. So
made a couple threes, made all of his free throws. He got to the line tonight, couple steals. Didn't have the big turnover number that De'Aaron Fox had.
Right.
I saw the connection a little bit with you know, the big men, but I feel like this Tyrese, and I want to talk about this a little bit later, so I'm not going to touch on it too much right now, but this Tyrese Haliburton, Richaun Holmes combo that we talked about and we've raved about as being so awesome is not really going right now, and Tyrese is still putting up decent numbers. So I could only imagine what his numbers are going to look like once Richaun is playing great again.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's all that we can really talk about with this team right now is we've mentioned it so many times. They need to choose a direction, a style of play, and go from there and fill out the rest of this roster. And I've gone back and forth on it. I started off before they ever played a game together thinking that it wasn't going to work, the two of them paired in the backcourt. Then I kind of relaxed that idea a little bit because I was like, well, they're both really, really young. Tyrese is a pretty complete player in terms of his skill set. Maybe it is going to work out. But at this point, I think I'm committed to saying that success for the overall team in terms of winning record, making the playoffs, I'm not so sure. Well, I'm very sure that the way the team is constructed as of today is not conducive to that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the big problems is having the two of them play in the backcourt together.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, one of the things that really stood out to me in this game is field goal attempts. The Grizzlies seem to always have the ball. They had over almost 20 more field goal attempts than the Kings.
Well, when you out-rebound a team by that much.
Exactly. That all comes down to rebounding.
Yes.
Harrison Barnes was the high rebound man tonight for the Kings, and that's with 7 boards. Didn't get a lot out of the bigs. Didn't get a lot out of anybody else. So, you know, I know Steven Adams is a good rebounder. JJ is a good rebounder.
This is the number one rebounding team in the league.
Exactly. And I think Ja Morant had actually 7 rebounds in this game
Very
tonight,
good rebounder for a guard.
So something needs to be done. Something needs to change in this team. We talk about defense. We talk about rebounding. These have been continuing issues that have just persisted
for years.
And everybody knows what they are, and they try and bring in a guy like, oh, we're going to bring in Tristan Thompson. Great rebounder, great offensive rebounder, stuff like this. And they still seem to happen. You have any idea why?
Well, first of all, Tristan Thompson doesn't play consistent minutes for this team.
Yep.
He has, as of late, that's because they were missing Rashawn Holmes. They were down Alex Len, other guys like that. But you can only help the rebounding cause if you're on the court, right? And we've seen plenty of games early on in this year where the Kings were fully healthy and they just chose not to play him at all because of matchups or whatever. So it's all great to say that, like, oh, we got Tristan Thompson. He should help with rebounding.
Mm-hmm.
But if he doesn't play consistently, then he's not going to help that much. That's just a fact.
Yeah. I mean, 7 minutes for him tonight, 0 points, 0 rebounds. He's got a turnover and a foul.
If Rashawn Holmes and Damian Jones didn't get in foul trouble, there's no way Tristan Thompson would have played at all in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this roster is going to look a little different here in the next couple days once they send some of these guys back out. The 10-day contracts are over. Speaking of which, Isaiah Thomas's 10-day contract is up with the Lakers. They're not going to re-sign him. Not saying the Kings should, but just a little thing to keep an eye on there.
There's going to be a lot of those guys here in the next few days that are coming off their 10-day contracts that will be available.
They were COVID balling.
Yes. Yeah.
I even saw, who was it? Joe Johnson, he got signed. There was another guy that was saying, J.R. Smith. He was like, all these guys sign in 10 days, I'll sign a contract.
Yep.
And I think he still got it.
Oh, I'm sure he could still play. Yeah.
All right. Anything else that stands out here in the team stats for you, or player stats, box score?
Well, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, my keys to the game were, hold on, let me find that here. Points in the paint, fail. 72-36 in favor of Memphis. Rebounding, fail. Memphis 53, Sacramento 38. And then the H factor was not a factor at all.
Yeah.
Didn't score for Rashawn Holmes.
Yeah. That's wild, dude. That's so wild.
But, I mean, you go down the list here, and again, the only reason this game was close in the first half was because Memphis was struggling to shoot. They were still doing everything else right. The rebounds, 19 offensive rebounds for Memphis in this game. 19 rebounds. The Kings have had close to 19 rebounds in a single game before.
That's wild.
Assists, 33 for Memphis to just 12 turnovers. The Kings turned it over 18 times. Fast break points in favor of Memphis. Points in the paint, again, the Grizzlies obliterated the Kings in this 3-game series in points in the paint. That's how you get a 30-point lead right there.
Yeah. Yep. I want to read you a quote from Alvin Gentry after the game, and he returned. This is his first game back. "This is the most disappointed I have been in 34 years in the NBA. That performance was absolutely ridiculous."
And you know what the really sad part about that is? The first game that the Kings played against Memphis, they played worse than this.
Yeah.
They played much worse than this.
Yep.
I got nothing.
Gentry didn't have a good Christmas, I don't think. He's like, here, Christmas with my family, and tomorrow I'm going to go back to the Kings and get yelled at, and everything's my fault again.
Hey, that's the nature of the beast, right?
Oh, man, it's really tough. Andrew says it's tank time.
Oof, yeah, you might be right.
I don't know about tanking, but Kings got to make a move. They got to do something. Anything else you want to talk about this game? Should we move on?
Yeah,
It's painful.
I'm reading Patrick. What's up, Patrick, by the way? What's up to all you guys out there? But he's right. We talk about the same thing every single game.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything more to say.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up this game. Sacramento basketball team loses to the Memphis Grizzlies 127-102. Make sure you guys smash that like button. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to talk more about your Kings.